TomoNews presents Assassins. That's right, sleep.
SAS sniper decapitates ISIS execution chief. An ISIS boss who taught jihadis how to decapitate people has reportedly lost his head to a British sniper's bullet. A marksman with the British Army's Special Air Service blew the ISIS executioner's head off during an operation in northern Syria. A British military source told the Daily Star on Sunday that a crack SAS team snuck into the terrorist-held area 2 weeks ago. The sniper got into position and waited almost 12 hours. The target, a jihadi training camp 1,200 meters away. According to reports, the SAS team waited until the ISIS commander began showing recruits how to cut prisoners' heads off. The sniper got the all-clear to fire as the ISIS chief demonstrated cutting motions with knives, axes, and a sword. Using a high-powered rifle and aiming more than a foot off to allow for the wind, the marksman took out the ISIS boss with one shot. The commander was easy to spot because he wore white robes, which is unusual for ISIS fighters. Reports said that most of the 20 ISIS recruits deserted the camp following the SAS operation. ISIS is terrified of a mystery sniper who's killed 3 of their commanders in 10 days. An unknown sniper is striking fear into the heart of ISIS operatives in the Libyan city of Sirte. This Twitter post by journalist Daniel Raineri shows the 3 places where the sniper allegedly took out ISIS commanders. No one is sure if the sniper is just one person or a group of sharpshooters. The string of high-level shootings reportedly started on January 13th, with the death of a Sudanese official in the Sharia court in Sirte. The shooting reportedly happened outside of a local hospital. This was followed by the shooting of another ISIS leader near his home in the coastal city on January 19th. The latest shooting, which claimed the life of an ISIS commander from southern Libya, happened outside a mosque in the city center on January 23rd. An eyewitness told the Al-Wasat website that a state of terror prevailed following one of the shootings. But since many locals don't support their new ruler, some citizens are lauding the sniper. Guesses about who the sniper really is include the possibility that it might be a U.S. Special Forces soldier, a militiaman from a neighboring town, or a sniper who got plenty of practice during Libya's uprising against Muammar Gaddafi. Following the shootings, ISIS has executed and arrested several people, but stories about the mystery sniper abound.
Sniper shoots ISIS executioner moments before beheading. A British SAS sniper took out an ISIS soldier just moments before he was about to behead a Syrian man and his 8-year-old son. An unnamed defense source who spoke with the Daily Star said there were already several decapitated bodies on the ground at the time of the shooting. The executioner beat the man and son in front of the crowd and made them kneel down to be beheaded. The SAS reportedly considered calling in an airstrike, but there were too many civilians present, so the sniper decided to act, firing a .50 caliber rifle from a kilometer away and hitting the ISIS militant in the head seconds before he was about to execute the man and his son. There were 2 ISIS militants holding AK-47s on either side of the executioner, and they were both killed with 1 shot each from the sniper. After the 3 men were killed, someone untied the man and boy. The remaining ISIS soldiers were last seen in a pickup truck headed towards the Turkish border.
Anti-Uzbek regime Islamic leader Abdullah Bukhari assassinated in broad daylight. Surveillance footage of the assassination of Uzbek religious leader Abdullah Bukhari on December 10th in Istanbul, Turkey is now in the wild. As director of the Ihsan Ilim Services and Assistance Foundation, Bukhari was about to enter the foundation building before he was approached from behind by a man who then shot him at close range. Turkey's Hurriyet Daily News quoted a witness saying the 38-year-old Bukhari had been threatened by Russian and Uzbek intelligence agencies over the past 3 months, and Turkish police were aware of the threats. After reviewing the footage, Istanbul anti-terror team seized a 27-year-old suspect who is identified only by the initials ZM. He is a Russian national from Chechnya. According to worldbulletin.net, the plot to assassinate Bukhari was conceived 3 months ago and included plans to kill 3 other religious leaders as well. Bukhari died in hospital on December 10th and his funeral was held 2 days later. As a representative for the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan, Bukhari had been a voice of opposition to the Uzbek regime. Bukhari's mentor also died in an assassination, but Bukhari insisted on carrying on his work of teaching the Quran, even under the eyes of Uzbek intelligence.
Police believe they have a clear still photo taken from a security camera of a gunman who shot dead a prominent Iranian banker at a parking lot in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. Hussein Ahmad Najadi and his wife were leaving the Lorong Selong Kwan Yin Chinese temple around 2 p.m. They entered an outdoor car park, where one witness said a man wearing a helmet approached them from behind. The man fired shots at the couple before fleeing the scene. He reportedly got into a waiting taxi nearby and escaped with accomplices. Gunshots struck Hussein in the ribs, chest and abdomen, killing him. His wife was injured in the left wrist and right thigh, but survived. Authorities believe the shooting may have been related to a real estate deal gone awry. Hussein was laid to rest last night.
It was a day that changed our lives.
I saw a flash of light in the bushes, and that last shot.
A new documentary marking the 50th anniversary of JFK's assassination hopes to revitalize America's long-dormant obsession with conspiracies surrounding the death of one of its most iconic leaders. JFK, the smoking gun, claims that JFK was killed not by the bullet of Lee Harvey Oswald, but that the fatal bullet instead came from the Secret Service-issued AR-15 of a clumsy government agent. Riding behind Kennedy's car in the motorcade on that fateful November day, inexperienced agent George Hickey allegedly stumbled as he attempted to respond to Lee Harvey Oswald's first shot. Authors say this instance of friendly fire inflicted the mortal wound that shattered a portion of the president's skull. The documentary, which is set to premiere on cable channel Reels on November 3rd, is largely based on the Bonner Menninger's 1992 book Mortal Error, The Shot That Killed JFK.
UK teen wanted to kill Donald Trump using a police officer's handgun. An autistic British man living in the US illegally reportedly traveled to Las Vegas last weekend with the intent to kill Donald Trump. Police say suspect Michael Sanford spoke with an officer at a Las Vegas Donald Trump rally on Saturday about getting an autograph, but then tried to take the officer's weapon. The 19-year-old was eventually subdued by officers and then handed over to the United States Secret Service. Sanford allegedly said he wanted to kill Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. He reportedly wanted to shoot him using the officer's gun. The British teen reportedly practiced firing 20 rounds of a Glock pistol at a shooting range before driving to Las Vegas and had been planning to kill Trump for a year. Authorities say Sanford has been living out of his car with an expired U.S. visa and that he suffers from a form of autism. A U.S. judge found Sanford a danger to the community and a flight risk at a court hearing on Monday. The suspect remains in custody and further charges are pending. Would-be Reagan assassin goes free after 35 years. For years, John Hinckley Jr. has been fighting to be fully free from the mental institution where he's been held since 1983. 35 years later, the man who tried to kill one of the United States' most beloved presidents has finally been released. On the afternoon of March 30th, 1981, then-President Ronald Reagan walked out of the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. toward his waiting limousine. Hidden among the crowd of admirers was Hinckley, who aimed his gun at the president and shot 6 times. But who was Hinckley, and why did he want the president dead? John Warnock Hinckley Jr. was born in 1955, the son of a wealthy Denver-based oil executive and his homemaker wife. He enrolled in Texas Tech after high school, but eventually dropped out to pursue his dreams of songwriting in California. And it was there in 1976 that Hinckley saw Taxi Driver, a film about an American psychopath who stalks and attempts to kill a political candidate. He watched it 15 times, becoming obsessed with the movie and infatuated with actress Jodie Foster, who played a child prostitute. He also became interested in guns. His first firearm was a .38 caliber pistol that he used for target shooting and solo games of Russian roulette. In 1980, he began stalking Foster at Yale University. He managed to talk to her, but was ultimately rebuffed.
Who is this? John. Hello. Oh no, not you, kid. Look, I really can't talk to you, okay? But do me a really big favor. You understand why I can't, carry on these conversations with people I don't know. You understand that it's dangerous and it's just not done, it's not fair, and it's rude.
Oh,
all right?
Well, I'm not doing this.
By making himself famous, he hoped to gain the young actress's love and respect. And in his twisted mind, the best way to achieve fame was to assassinate the President of the United States. Hinckley stalked President Jimmy Carter in Nashville, but was arrested at the airport for having 3 guns in his carry-on. The guns were confiscated and Hinckley was released after paying a small bond. He quickly replaced the firearms, buying 2 .22 caliber revolvers from a Dallas pawn shop the same month. By November, the U.S. had a new president. Former actor and ex-governor of California, Ronald Reagan. Hinckley set his sights on Reagan, and in March took a roundabout trip that eventually brought him to D.C. After reading in a newspaper that Reagan would be at the Hilton, he loaded his gun with 6 Devastator bullets. Each bullet contained the toxic lead azide and was meant to explode on impact. Just before leaving for what he believed was a suicide mission, Hinckley wrote Jodie Foster a final love letter. In the letter, he calls the shooting a historical deed meant to impress her, but admits he would abandon his plan if she were to accept him. 2 hours later, the deed was done, and Hinckley had secured his place in history as the man who tried to assassinate President Reagan. It took only seconds for Hinckley to fire all 6 shots. The first bullet hit Press Secretary James Brady in the forehead and exploded inside his skull. Brady was paralyzed for the rest of his life. The injuries he sustained that day would eventually kill him 35 years later. The second bullet hit D.C. police officer Thomas Delahanty, entering the back of his neck and ricocheting off his spine. Because the bullet was lodged near the spine, doctors first planned to leave it in Delahanty's body. They ultimately removed it after finding out it could explode. Delahanty was left with permanent nerve damage to his left arm. The third bullet hit Secret Service agent Tim McCarthy in the chest as he shielded the president. He survived. The fourth hit the car's bulletproof glass window, cracking but not breaking it. The fifth bounced off the side of the limo and into a small opening between the car's body and the open door. This was the shot that hit President Reagan. After the sixth and final shot hit the window of a building across the street, Hinckley was tackled to the ground. The president was quickly pushed into the limo, which immediately sped off toward the White House. No one was aware that the fifth bullet was lodged in the president's left lung, mere inches from his heart. When he started coughing blood, the limo changed course to George Washington Hospital. At the hospital, President Reagan insisted on walking in on his own, but had difficulty breathing and almost collapsed once inside the ER. With the president in surgery and Vice President George Bush on Air Force Two, the White House was in chaos. In trying to keep order, Secretary of State Alexander Haig famously declared to the press that he was third in line and therefore in control. It was a mistaken assumption, made worse by his claim that he was citing the Constitution.
As of now, I am in control here in the White House, pending return of the Vice President, and in close touch with him. If something came up, I would check with him.
Fortunately, doctors managed to save the president's life, and he was back in the Oval Office less than a month later. Hinckley was tried for his crimes in 1982, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Instead of prison, he was sent to St. Elizabeth's, a federal psychiatric facility. Though initially classified as a danger to himself and others, years later, Hinckley was allowed outside visits. In July 2016, a judge deemed him cured of his psychosis and granted conditional freedom. He is now living full-time at his mother's house in Williamsburg, Virginia, but must stay away from the shooting victims, their families, and Jodie Foster. Hinckley must live with his 90-year-old mother for at least the next year. If all goes well, he may later be allowed to live on his own or with roommates. The decision to free Hinckley has been highly controversial, especially for the victims, their families, and the Virginia community where he will be residing. As to whether it was right to release Hinckley, only time will tell.